I'm Scott Al Miller, the Everyday Vlogger. Now, being a daily vlogger is anything but the norm. It is an extremely demanding way to do vlogs, and I'm not going to say that I recommend it. This is not a lifestyle that is good for most people. I'm really here to encourage you to look into being a YouTuber, into being a vlogger, to being a content creator, and finding your own voice and your own path. I want to empower you as much as possible to do that. But because I have been a long-term everyday vlogger, which I've been doing for nearly 6 or 7 years with a really heavy dedication to being out there every single day without missing a day for about 3 years. I've got thousands of episodes. I have covered a lot of range of technology. I use a lot of different equipment. That goes without saying pretty much when you're doing the volume of content that I'm doing. But because of that, I actually have a pretty interesting workflow for managing most days. And people find that relatively interesting, and I think the way that I work is good for a lot of people to understand because I'm doing something that is so demanding on my time, so demanding on my equipment, that if I didn't have a really interesting and powerful workflow to make that possible, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. I don't just vlog every day, but I do so normally on my own. It is very rare that I have anyone working with me. I do all of my own editing, which is not the norm even for people doing a fraction of the workload that I do. I do all of it in the tropics at extreme heat, which makes things even more difficult. I am based in León, Nicaragua, so I'm in an area where equipment takes a real beating, and I have to manage it very carefully, and I can't just run to Amazon and get new equipment really quickly. So I have a lot of challenges. I have to get things right the first time in most cases, and I have to be super efficient to make everything work well. So what is my average, median, everyday workflow that makes this all possible? So my first thing is I do my majority of my filming on GoPro. I have 3, a 9, 11, and a 12, and for sure this fall I will be getting the 13, especially because my 9 is all but dead at this point. My 11 is showing its age, and my 12, which I'm on now, is working fantastically. I've been very happy with GoPro. Of course, there's other options, but GoPro for me has been specifically fantastic. I recommend them heavily, and I have been in the ecosystem with a 4, a 5, 2 9s, and then there we are today. So I have really run the gamut of their equipment. I've been with them since before they had stabilization. I've been with them when they were using external gimbals. I've been with them through the revolution of many different other technologies, and they really do make making a channel like I do much more possible. I'm able to do a lot of walking around, a lot of grab and go, run and gun, that kind of stuff, and I'm able to always keep a bit of equipment ready at all times, and all of my GoPros have interchangeable batteries with each other, so I have a large slew of batteries. I have charging banks. I'm able to be really prepped for a lot of different filming scenarios at any given time. So the physical cameras have been an absolute wonder for me and make a lot of difference. If I didn't have the GoPros to work with making this channel just in the filming aspects, and my main channel, my vlogging channel, would be all but impossible. But that's not enough. I need some workflows to get that data where it needs to go, and this is where the GoPro has been especially great for me. Starting with the 9, I believe the ability to have a GoPro cloud account, which I do have, and I've been a proponent of since the original release of the GoPro 9. Some of my early videos were about that. They provide a way to automatically just plug in your camera, and when it's charging its battery, it also uploads directly to the cloud. I've been using this. I think it's one of the best services you could possibly have. There's a lot of other reasons you want to get it. I'm not going to talk about those on this video. I'll make another video where we dig into the value of that account. But for this one feature, it's absolutely fantastic for me. I plug in whatever camera I was just working with. For example, I'm on the 12 right now. So when I'm done doing this video, I will go plug this in my studio. It'll start cooling down. I'll have the air conditioning on it. It'll be charging the battery, so I'm ready if I need to unplug and go film again, but it'll automatically upload all of the video work that I do to the GoPro cloud. And when it's done, it will, and this is a setting that I've chosen, but it will automatically clear off my camera. So my camera is 100% ready for me to go record again. That is super important. I don't have a lot of time to be opening up the camera, taking out the card, plugging it in, moving it into a computer, doing a bunch of extra steps, and I need that camera to be ready at a moment's notice, which if I do all that, it's not. Then I have to reassemble everything, which is not a big deal, but for the amount of filming that I do, that stuff matters, and I don't want to be doing that every day, even if I don't have a time crunch. So I do that, and I just let my camera sit. I'm able to go do other editing. I'm able to do other work. I'm able to go enjoy a coffee, whatever it is I'm going to do. And while I'm doing that, the GoPro is automatically taking all of my data and sending it up to the GoPro cloud. Once it confirms the GoPro has it, then it cleans off the camera and just charges the battery. So I don't have to worry about it, and it's just ready for me to go use. Some days, many days, I'm doing a lot of filming and I need to use multiple cameras. Well, while I'm doing that with one, I'll take another out that's already been prepared through the same process, go film with that, and then when I bring that in, I'm able to swap which one is uploading and keep the process moving. So this is very efficient with multiple cameras as well. Not that I'm recommending most people go out and have multiple GoPros and a huge slew of equipment, but if you're doing everyday vlogging like I am, that becomes pretty important. So something to consider, and one of the reasons why I will be jumping on that GoPro 13 when it comes out, and if GoPro decides to enter the 360 market again, I will definitely be there, because those backup storage features and automated clearance features are so important to my workflow that I will stick with the GoPro ecosystem for that alone. Someone would have to have a pretty killer feature to get me to go anywhere else, because I use those so heavily. Once I've done that, I know that my data is safe, I know that it's protected, and I know that it's portable. That's one of the most important pieces. Sometimes I'm working here in the general area where I live. That allows me to go to my desktop, download, have big storage, work on it at my leisure in my studio. But sometimes I'm out on the road. I do a lot of travel videography as well. So when I'm travel vlogging, I need to get it downloaded to my laptop if I'm going to be editing in the field. If I'm out for just a couple days, I don't typically edit in the field. I'll just have it go to the cloud, have my stuff ready, and when I get back to my studio, I'll download it all and work from there. But if I'm in the field for a long time, then I'll put it on my laptop and work from there. That workflow flexibility is super important, because when you're traveling, you don't want to be carting around extra hard drives and taking backups of things and worrying about losing a hard drive. Well, I left a hard drive behind. I lost 5 days of shooting because I hadn't been editing. All kinds of terrible things can happen. But when you're out and doing everything by GoPro, all of that footage is up and protected, and it doesn't matter where I am, I'm going to be able to get to those files. That's really important for me. It means I can travel light. Of course, my cameras and my laptop, those things are super important to me, but they're not critical in that they're holding all of the data that I needed for the work that I was doing. That's already protected. Once I bring down my files, whether it's on a laptop while I'm in the field, or it's on my desktop while I'm in the studio, or I'm having a staffer do it, which I never really do, but in theory I can. I keep that flexibility ready. They can pull down those files. They can do the editing that they need to do. Locally, we use Final Cut Pro here. That's what we've been using with a lot of plugins from Motion VFX. That's the core of my workflow. I do also have Topaz AI. If I have a situation where I have to work with old footage or with really poor footage and I need to clean it up, or if someone sends me footage to mix in, which I do sometimes, often I have to make major adjustments to it. Topaz AI is a relatively expensive tool set, but it does give me some power that some other things don't have, so I do like having it at the ready. I've been maintaining it. I think I will be renewing it. But for most people, I would not recommend that. That's an extreme circumstance to have that, but that's part of my workflow, so I wanted to share that. Final Cut has been absolutely fantastic. I have multiple M Series Macs. It's very fast, very easy to work with. I'm extremely happy with Final Cut, and for the amount that I use it, the incredibly low cost of Final Cut is worth it completely. If I was starting new, I would definitely consider DaVinci Resolve, but if I was doing what I do, I would be paying for the same price for DaVinci Resolve anyway. But if you're just getting started, DaVinci Resolve has basically all the power of Final Cut, but it's available for free. If you don't want to use third-party plugin tools, then using something like Shotcut can be absolutely fantastic. I find that to be one of my favorite tools. The only thing is I like getting a lot of add-in like lower thirds and title screens and those kinds of extra little stuff from Motion VFX, and we're going to do some videos all about that. I am a passionate Motion VFX user. I'm really passionate about their sales system. I'll teach how to use that. I use a ton of their stuff. I'll recommend that you don't buy anything like what I do, but I will show a bunch of their stuff and help you make some decisions around it and understand what's worth it and what's not, what to use. But I really, really like Motion VFX. I can't get that and if someone knows how to do this on Shotcut, let me know, but I am unaware of any way to do that with Shotcut on its own. Otherwise, Shotcut is an absolutely awesome editing tool, very fast and powerful, easy to use, completely free, available on every platform. It's completely free, so jump in, start using it. It's a great place to learn, and it works really it's easy, right? So as a learning tool and as something you can simply go get today, that's fantastic. Looking at DaVinci Resolve or Final Cut Pro as upgrade professional tools that give you a little bit more flexibility, let you get into Motion VFX or other types of third-party paid content. Those things could be very valuable, but don't let, again, any of those things things hold you back, and I've been very happy with those. For me, it's editing in Final Cut. I have Final Cut on my laptop. I have Final Cut on my desktop. I simply import from that. I download, import into there. I have access to, in my case, Motion VFX, third-party content across all those. That is where I get things like the logos and the animations, not video content. All of my video content is first-person created, so I'm doing all of my own content creation. I'm very passionate about that. It's just what I like doing. Nothing wrong with buying those, going to someone like Artlist.io and getting their Max subscription and getting all the third-party created content so that you can like have, you know, video backgrounds or whatever that you're just using as an example, or you need it as filler or B-roll, anything like that. Absolutely, go for those things. Those are fantastic. The way that I work, I don't use those types of tools, but I could see that being very useful depending on the content that you do. And but for me, all that's there. So my workflow, I get it into Final Cut. I do my own editing, but because of the way I work, I could have another person do editing for me or with me, or we could share between. And I do have some tools from Apple to allow me to render across multiple devices if I need to speed up rendering, if I'm doing a batch job or something really, really large, for example. And then immediately from there, I'm able to double check and do my uploads to YouTube. I also do a secondary upload to Rumble, just because that is also free, also monetized, and allows me to have another location should anything happen to my data on one or the other. I have the other one there to protect me. And of course, it would be great if you were able to back up somewhere and keep it on Backblaze B2 or Wasabi or something like that. However, just be aware that having lots of backups of your data could be very expensive, and so you want to be a little bit cautious. The stuff that I do while I'm passionate about making a video every day, while I love having all that stuff, I don't pay for that. That would be very expensive, and the type of content that I make, while sometimes is really valuable to have a historic vision of that, for me, I could recreate all of the current information, just redo it in the current time frame, and that would be okay. So it's the decision that you have to make. For me, having a tertiary backup of all that data just doesn't make sense, except for really extreme circumstances. But that is my workflow and what allows me to do a vlog every day while keeping my data protected. And I should say, it's my final edited version. I don't necessarily keep a tertiary backup, but I have all the original files. I can recreate it from the original data. It would just have to be re-edited. But of course, we've already edited it, and we could edit it differently and get potentially a better result. So that is my workflow. It gives me a lot of protection, it gives me a lot of comfort, and it's very easy for me to do. It allows me to put the minimum amount of effort in while getting maximum results. There are a few places where I'm spending some extra money to make it all happen, but in general, it is very cost effective. I'm spending extremely little to get a lot of results out of what I'm using. So all things I think are well worth considering. And when you're looking at your own workflows, of course, these are thought processes you have to go through. What makes sense for you? What technology do you want to use? Some people can't use GoPro, and so you can't use the GoPro Cloud. Some people don't have good internet access, and you have to do everything locally. I have amazing fiber. I'm lucky to be in Central America, where high-speed, low-cost fiber is widely available. So I pretty much always have access to really good internet. But if you're in lots of portions of like North America, in the US or Canada, you could easily be in a zone where good, fast, reliable internet is very difficult to come by, and you may have a problem doing the level of uploads that I do. Or you could be traveling and having to do all your editing in the field and find that a lot of hotels do not provide the internet that you need. Because of the type of travel I do in Latin America, generally I am able to get the speeds and capability that I need. So even if I can't do uploads every day, I can do them at least every few days. Whereas, again, if you're in the United States, very often you're going to be at hotel after hotel where they use special gateways and stop the GoPro from being able to upload automatically. But you could use a different service, have a different cloud provider, and so forth. There's ways to make whatever you need happen for however you're going to work. But for me, this workflow has been absolutely fantastic. I get asked about it a lot, so I wanted to share it with you. Thanks for joining me. If you'd like to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Scott Allen Miller. That comes directly to me and helps pay for all the things we do here on the show, like the cameras and special effects and editing and all those things that I mentioned in my workflow, the subscriptions that I have to make all of this possible. I also do other shows like podcasting. I have my daily vlog and lots of other content on YouTube and the podcasting universe. So I'm very active in a lot of media creation, a lot of different areas. We'll be bringing you a new episode soon. Share where you can, tell people about the show, and I'll see you all next time.